Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our cards of the week and our channeled wisdom. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen today because I am pissed as hell. And I have been asking them, hello, Chris Love. I have been asking them because all things happen for good. Like everything works together for good. Hi, Beth Boyd. All things work together for good. And I just need today for somebody to explain to me, pardon my language, how in the fuck it is something for the good for some asshole. And I'm sorry for my language, and I'm sorry it's going to be a little bit political today. Carve out and scrape out the word Trump on the back of a manatee. And I am pissed. I am so angry. I am so angry I could spit. And if you follow me at all, you know not only do I love these creatures, but that I work to protect and to educate and to stop harassment. And it is one of the hardest things that I do because it's one of the most joyful things that I do, but it is one of the most difficult and frustrating things that I do because I can't be everywhere. It's like being a mother. You can't protect your child from everything. I can't be everywhere. And that somebody would go scuba diving, because you would need to be a diver, because manatees can swim and they can go down to the bottom, and you would have needed to be a scuba diver, would take some sort of tool and scrape that word into the algae on the back of a defenseless creature with no teeth to harm you. And I don't think I can remember a time that I have been madder in. I can't think of a time that I have been madder. And so I continue to ask myself, if all things work together for good, and I believe that they do, I need them to help me understand what good comes out of that. And I keep coming back to, thank you, love. I keep coming back to, there will always be good and there will always be evil. And there will be those who value life and those who do not value life. Those who are willing to beat the hell out of a police officer with a fire extinguisher who even was on your side. Those who just do not value life and who can't see the light and choose not to see the light and will never see the light. And on top of the things that we have witnessed as a nation this year, this week, for me, this was really just the final straw, because I understand that humans have a tremendous capacity for love and compassion. And humans also have a tremendous capacity for rage and evil, to turn that rage into evil and into violence. But when you turn that onto a defenseless creature, and I see occasionally we see this kind of vandalism on the walls at the Springs where I work. The walls are very high and there are some rock faces, and we'll see, some nitwit that carved out, AB loves BC or whatever, and just stupidity. And we know that nature, Mother Nature, has this amazing ability to take back what's hers. And so, you give it a few days and the rain comes and the mud slides and those things are no longer there and it will be as if they never happened. And I know for this poor, beautiful manatee, um, it's the rods time for the change. How long am I moving? And don't understand two of the rods, but it is time for change. And I know for this beautiful creature, this beautiful manatee, that the algae on his back will grow in, and that and in time you will not be able to see the word Trump carved on the back of this beautiful creature. And I don't care. It is infuriating that they carved this word. It would have been infuriating no matter what word that they did. But it is so indicative of the lack of respect and compassion that we are seeing and the lack of kindness. This ideology that you can do whatever the hell you want and there's no consequences. And that is the part that really concerns me. And so, again, I'm sorry. Two of rods. Thank you. Okay, I understand. Thank you. It was out of context for me, Chris. And again, I apologize for being political today, and I'm really trying not to be overly political. But when you put on scuba gear and you attack a manatee and you carve the word Trump on his back just to show that you support the president, that's sick. That's akin to rape and molestation and attack. And every time I think of it, I just want to throw up because this is a beautiful defenseless creature. I mean, they don't even have teeth up front. That was probably sleeping and a scuba diver came up next to it. And if you started scratching on their back, and thank God it doesn't look like they were trying to carve it into the skin, just kind of scrape off the layer of algae. You had to be there for a few minutes to carve this literally from the base of the neck to the base of the tail. It is the manatee's entire body. And I am so disgusted and so angry that, and I know I don't come on here like this because I really try to always be in the light, but I also try to be transparent. And I really toyed with the idea of just canceling today, but today I need you. And I think that's what I really came to. Is that today I need you to remind me that we're doing something good and that there is good and that not everybody is some asshat that's going to attack a manatee. And today was really the last straw for me. For 5 years, I have said to people, no, not everybody who supports Trump is bad. And I still believe that. At the same time, it has gotten so deranged that if you are supporting this administration, then you are enabling this behavior. And I see all these people on my Facebook feed that say, if you're supporting this, unfriend me now. And I keep thinking to myself, no, that's not who I am. I'm not going to go around unfriending people. But this was the last straw for me today. And, I guess you would think that it would have been storming the Capitol and trying to take over our government. But to attack a defenseless creature, to me, it was right up there with ripping the children out of their mother's arms when they crossed our border. And I know that's a whole other conversation about immigration and whatnot, but I am sick today. I am absolutely sick. I am heartened to see my dear friend Laura Bookbinder on with us today. That warms my heart in a way you can't even imagine. That Laura and I have been friends since we were 14 years old. And so I asked them to tell me, how do I reconcile this with all things work together for good? Because I can say to a mother who has lost her child to some senseless violence, not that I can feel your pain, but that I can understand that a sentient being made a life plan before they chose to incarnate and made a decision to leave this body. But violence and this kind of an attack, it is, with, child molestation and child abuse and abduction and rape and all of these things. And I know it's a manatee, but in my heart, this is where it fits. And I love you, honey. It's you, right back. Um, and I just can't reconcile because the manatees not only are my spirit animal, and if you look around my house, there's manatees everywhere. This was really something that hit me so hard today with so much anger and rage. And there is a bird outside my window. I don't know if you can hear it, and it is so loud. So I know it's trying to get my attention for something there. But so I wanted to come to you today because I think, it's important, one, the transparency for me to be able to come and share with you. And I have shared with you things where I have not been okay with the passing of my twin and being, through the grief process. But this is rage. This is anger. And we start to look at, where do we direct that anger? Where do we direct rage? And we can direct it in a couple of different ways. And so one of the ways is clearly played out live on television on any news channel that you can see since Wednesday. And there are plenty of those who feel like that outpouring of rage is going to get worse before we're through on the 20th, and maybe even after that. And I get angry at the hypocrisy because there are those who, pointed fingers at the other side 4 years ago, and, but those were this. I just feel like the comparison is not even, I feel like it's apples to kumquats, to be honest. But what do we do with our rage that can be more constructive? And so I'm working on that answer. And obviously, there are things like write letters, support law enforcement, speaking up, speaking up. And so I am grateful to FWC, which is the Florida Wildlife Commission. They are actively looking for the people who did this horrible thing. That graffiti on a person, on an animal, on a child, on a wall is unacceptable. Violence is unacceptable. If you're a Harry Potter fan and you saw, where Dolores Umbridge, used Harry Potter had to write the lines of "I will not tell lies," and it showed up on his arm, and you felt that pain and that dehumanization, that demoralization, that anger that you could just feel welling up in Harry. That is so how I feel today. And I try so hard to come on here and give you words of light and words of joy and peace. And I understand that things are really chaotic out there, but to tap into the light. And so today, I guess what we're really going to talk about is, how do we tap in when we just are so angry we can't find the light? Because that's where I feel like I am. And again, I really feel that one of the commitments I make to you is that if I am at all capable of being here, then I want to be here, even if it's not a happy conversation, because that's real and that's life and that's transparency. So I'm going to say, let's grab some cards. I'm probably not going to do some readings today. It's not a good time. It's not a good idea to do readings when your energy is not right. And what happens in that is that my messages and my energy bleeds into the information that's coming through. So if you have a question, you're more than welcome to ask it, but please understand I may not have an answer for you today unless it comes through loud and clear. Of course, I will share. But just to know that I believe that when you build a community of light and you're building a community of honesty and compassion and truth and trying to spread that and spread those values, that it becomes important to not put rose-colored glasses on, and it becomes important to stand up and say, I'm not okay. And I think especially for women, this becomes really difficult. It's a conversation I even was having with someone the other day. It becomes so more difficult, I think, because women, we're raised to, we're capable, we get stuff done. I love the picture of the women walking out of well, I didn't love it, but I was really struck by it. The picture of the women walking out of the house chamber carrying these decades old wooden boxes that hold the certificates of the electoral votes, and that in the midst of the crisis, they had the presence of mind to say, take the boxes, take the certificates, that women are, have this idea of being, good in a crisis. You need something done, get a woman to do it, get a mom to do it. We know how to multitask. We know how to deal with all this stuff. And then, yes, I know there are men who think, women can't handle anything. And I think that's a whole nother thing. There is still light and good in the world, Beth, and I totally believe that. I totally believe that. And I know that there is more light and good than there are assholes who are carving words onto manatees. I know that. And I know that every time we see this level of stupidity and thoughtlessness and malice, and I don't know that the person carving it, if I was going to carve something with malice on anything, it's not going to be Trump's name. If I was going to do something malicious like with malice, it's going to be die and stuff like that. So I think this was just stupidity and carelessness, and ego is ego is ego is ego. It's ego. If I can do anything, I can say anything. There is a big rise of the conversation around censorship going on in our country right now. And when you are on social media platforms, this is not censorship. If you want to use this service, you play by the rules of the terms of service that you agreed to when you signed up. And it is not censorship, and it is the rules, the terms of service. And there is the idea, there has long been the idea in our country of entitlement, of I can do whatever the heck I want and there are no consequences. And I think that we are coming to this point where the people of this country have had enough. And I think that in the new administration, we will see changes in law enforcement and how things are handled, certainly from the Justice Department, that you can't just do whatever the hell you want and get away with it. And that is my hope. So yes, Beth Boyd, I agree with you 1,000%. There is still light. There is still good. And as long as people gather to stand up for what is right, and we do not sit down, and we do not turn our back on the darkness, as long as we continue to fight and to stand up for what is right, there will be light and there will be hope for a better day. And so for you and for your comments, I say thank you. I say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I hate coming on here like this. I always want to come on and be the person who's bringing hope and who's encouraging you to spread light and to find light. But the truth is that today I needed your light, and I appreciate you so very much. And I want to say I'm feeling a little bit better. So let's pull some cards. Okay, we're going to start today with the goddess card, because I need some goddess power. I don't know about you all, but I need some goddess power in me right now. So creative outlets are good for rage. Sewed and colored and crafted until I can keep my eyes open. Yeah, it's true. And I know when we're done, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to touch my beautiful tree Nakama out there. I have been so angry. I did not go outside and touch my tree and spend some time with her. And I really should and will go do that when we're done. I was really, to be honest, I didn't want to poison her. I was so angry. I didn't want to toxify my beautiful tree. There is some good news though, and I'm excited to share that there's a righty tail behind me. Pending the finishing of the editing of the videos, I believe that all of the videos for our upcoming Empowered Empath class have been recorded, and we are going to get the last few edited and loaded up onto the page, and then we're going to be able to start releasing that class, that online course for becoming an empowered empath, and I am very, very excited for that. So there's that. So our goddess today that is going to be leading us and sharing her love with us is, I don't know how to say this word. I don't know how to say her name. Easy. And I must confess, I'm not familiar with this, even though I have read this book, Colette Baron Reed's Goddess Power Oracle. I have read this book cover to cover, including the additional PDF that you can get from Colette when you purchase the deck that gives all the backstory and some more history about the goddesses. I have no memory of this, but her word is revelation. And isn't that an interesting thing? Her word is revelation. And so it says, there are moments of synchronicity that brings all elements together for a flash of insight to rise up in you in a glorious epiphany. Whatever was not clear becomes crystalline in an instant. It's as if you are able to simultaneously perceive every facet in a diamond. You know without a doubt that you are on the right track, and deep understanding seeps into your very soul. In this moment, change and transformation takes place, and a transcendent moment is offered to you as an extraordinary gift. Now is one of those times. The Chinese goddess Laozi, mother of lightning, brings revelations into your life with a flash. She gives you this as a result of all the hard work you have put into dismantling your old self and making space for who you want to become. This is a very auspicious time. Okay, so I have chill bumps on my body. Chris Judd, her name is Leizi, Lazy. And isn't she so pretty? Okay, so just in reading that, I've got chill bumps now. Because just this last sentence, this is written for us individually, but based on everything. So I asked my guides to channel wisdom through me of what needs to be shared, what they want to be shared, what I need to be shared, whatever it is I'm supposed to tell you all. And then the cards will reflect. The cards always reflect. It is amazing to me, even after all my years of doing this work, the cards coincide with whatever they've given me to share with you. But if you take this that we have just read and you take this in a communal interpretation, listen to this. The Chinese goddess Laozi, mother of lightning, brings revelations into your life with a flash, into our collective life with a flash. She gifts us this as a result of all the hard work that we have put into dismantling our old self and making space for who we want to become. This is a very auspicious time. Now, this strikes me because we have been talking about the transformation of our nation and the transformation of humanity for the last 5-6 years. And we knew that it was going to come to this big fracture point with a big flash of lightning. And so maybe it wasn't really a flash of lightning. Maybe it was a flash of tear gas. But this gives me hope that we are coming to, we know that we are coming to the turning point. We are coming to the turning point, and that we are moving in a new direction. Our society is moving in a new direction. We are shifting, and we know that. But this gives me hope that all the work that we are doing is not for nothing. And I know that it isn't, because I know if you're like me, let's get there already, right? I mean, let's get there. Let's get there already. I mean, I'm tired of transformation. I'm tired of, we've been talking for a long time about the fracturing, the rising of the dark and the rising of the light. And we're going to see this fracturing. And yes, the 6th was Epiphany. Yes. And we've to see this fracturing, and we know that there are going to be more people that are waking up. We've been seeing more people waking up to the light, and the dark gets louder because it's feeling their numbers dwindle, and they're feeling the earth shaking beneath their feet as they are seeing the rising of the light. And there is this great fracturing. And also, if you followed me for a while, you heard me talk about the chakras, how humanity is evolving through the chakras, and how where we are right now is in the throat chakra. And the throat chakra, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, we are in the throat chakra right now, right? Of people are using their words. Use your words with your mouth, not with something scratching on the back of a manatee. But we are in the time of using our words, and we are seeing people stand up, and it's been going on, and we are seeing people using their words. And it is so interesting that so much of this presidency has been about Twitter and social media, the place that is all about words. Twitter is all about the words. And it is so interesting to me that as we come to the end of this administration, we're seeing a shift in how we use our words. both good and bad. We're seeing that shift in how we use the words. And so we are very much, as a humanity, as a society, we are evolving and we are in the throat chakra. And we see this evolution, and we can stay in a particular chakra for anywhere from, 1 to 3 decades as we move through. And it's not a fine line. It's not like, okay, we're here, now we're going here, close this door, open this one up. It's not like that, because as we talk about energy all the time, it's not like a light switch. It opens and it closes, right? So it's not instant. And so even though there are those of us who are still in the throat chakra, there are also those of us who are already moving up into the third eye and into the crown chakra, that we're seeing what's going on. We're seeing a bigger picture. We're seeing it in a different way. And I think the events of this past week have been a big part of that, where people are just starting to see things in a different way. And in that, as we continue to go forward, unfortunately, I think we're still going to see the people who are holding on to the dark side get more desperate and do more things and attack more innocent victims like our manatees and whatever all else. And I think we're going to see more of that, but hopefully what we see is those numbers continue to dwindle as more people are going, this is not okay. This action, this activity, this level of extremism is not okay, and I'm going to step back. Will they step all the way to the other side? Not necessarily, and I wouldn't expect that, and that's not what I'm saying needs to happen. But what we want to see is the people stepping away from the edge. And so the chakra that's going to guide us this week, we have seen this before. This is 28. This is the heart chakra. This is broken open. This is broken open. And I think that that is really apropos and appropriate for what is going on. We are seeing our minds be broken open. We are seeing our hearts be broken open. And this is really where we are getting a very big glimpse of what is really going on out there and what part do we want to play in it. And really to understand, even as angry as I am, yeah, and as angry as I am, to keep compassion in my heart, to keep love in my heart, so that if somebody says to me, you know, this is, I can't take this part anymore, and this is not where I want to be. I'm not ready to be where you are, but I need to step back from this, to welcome that with compassion and with love. We do not have to agree. We do not have to be on the same side of every issue. How boring a world that would be. But we have to come to a place as humans where violence and racism and extremism of any kind, on the far left, far right, far high, far low, far extremist, anything, is not okay. Because extremism of any kind excludes everyone. And extremism is not okay. And so I feel like what we've seen and what we're going to continue to see is the heart and the mind be coming into this place of being broken open, to say, what kind of society do we want to live in? What kind of world do we want to create? And I feel very called to pull one more card from the Seven Energies deck. And so, of course, it is great big love, so that we live in compassion, even through the anger and the rage, that we still have compassion for the person who's just trying to do their job. We still have compassion for the person who can open their eyes and say, I don't want to be part of this anymore, or I want to be part of something else. I want to do something different. I want my voice to be heard in a better, more constructive, peaceful, collaborative way. And for that person, there will always be compassion in my heart. There will always be compassion in my heart for that. And I hope that you would be able to say the same. Okay, so let's grab on to our Work Your Light Oracle cards. Hi, Claudette. Welcome, welcome. You think you heard the word in my goddess reading. Okay. I'm not sure which word, Laura. All right. Hi, Brooke. All right, so we're going to grab onto Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light Oracle cards. I know I see this every week. These are seriously like my favorite cards that I've ever worked with. They are so beautiful. The artistry is beautiful. The messages are beautiful. I just think they are, and the energy that I find from them when I am working with them is absolutely magnificent. So we have Leap. Leap is our first card. Leap. Leap. And for me, this comes right back into following your heart. Following your heart. And so as much as I am angry, and I will confess I'm feeling better just spending time with you and spending time in the cards and spending time connected with spirit. I'm still angry, but I know that we must stay in that place of love. And so leap forward to the things that you want to create, what you want this new world order to look like, this new world order, meaning in the United States or wherever you are. We are going to have this significant change in our government to go back to something that makes sense to us, to go back to something that believes in collaboration and believes in working together, and that is based in love, that is based in helping people rather than helping self. And so this card that says leap. So wherever you are being called, and I know we've been talking a lot about where you're being called and where you're being led and what's pulling at you and where you're being shown to go in this new year, stay with that. Stay with that. Because when you operate and you leap from love, you will absolutely land in the right place. You will absolutely land in the right place. And so the next one is Warrior Woman. We have our next card is Warrior Woman. Warrior Woman. I think, Laura, when I was talking about epiphany, I think I was talking about like a brain epiphany rather than like a Catholic epiphany, but yes, absolutely. So Warrior Woman. So this reminds us that we can be strong, we can be badasses, we can be not just women, but that we can be soft too, that we can be strong and we can be commanding and we can get shit done and we can speak our minds and we can stand in our truth and stand in our light, but we don't have to be mean. We don't have to be, I'm angry, but I don't have to be mean. And I don't have to be, we don't have to be evil. And even if I'm filled with rage, there are constructive outlets for it. Chris gave some great suggestions of doing crafts that has always been therapeutic for me. I am right now in the process of building a crochet blanket, making a crochet blanket for the third time, because the first time, and then I did it and it was, you know how with Legos, if you make a mistake on step 4, you won't notice it until step 38. Yeah, so I pulled it all out of this beautiful blanket and then I made it all again and I got to the end and I was like, hey, I'm gonna do the edging and won't this be great? And then I realized I completely made a totally different pattern. And the first part of the blanket had one pattern, and the rest of the blanket had a totally different pattern. I was like, oh, that's not going to work at all. So, third time, we're going to remake this blanket, but it definitely is therapeutic for sure. And so we can be the warrior woman, we can be strong, and we can be courageous, and we can be the badass without having to be the bitch. And so, as angry as I am, and as full of rage, and as full of we do not have to take that out on somebody else. And so that I think is really an important message. And so they asked me to pull one more card. And so of course I do, which cracks me up because the card says take a break. And that reminds us that some days it is okay to just walk away. It is okay to just walk away, go stand in the grass, touch a tree, have a drink, talk to a good friend, take a break. Do something that brings joy to your heart and find a way back to believing the universe that even when and even though all things work together for good, there's still going to be jackasses in the world. And I think that that is really where I've come to through our conversation, and that as much as I am just pissed, all things work together for good. And maybe, just maybe, this event of this manatee being brutalized will wake up the state legislature in Florida that our manatees need the added protective measures that we have been lobbying for and that we have been asking for for months and years that we need more protections for our beautiful manatee creatures. If some jackweed can scuba dive up and carve out Trump's name on the back of a defenseless manatee, we need more protections. And so maybe that is the light that comes from this horrible thing. And I'm grateful that it did not look like the manatee's skin was harmed and that it was just into the algae. And I'm grateful because that means the manatee wasn't wounded to need medical attention. And algae grows quickly, which means that this will be covered up very quickly. And the manatee hopefully will not be too traumatized. There will be light. There will always be dark. There will be light. And it's up to us to continue to find a way when we get angry to turn that into positive action, whether that's outwardly in our community, whether that's creatively in crafting and making a blanket. But it's important to remember that as much as we may be angry and frustrated with the things that we are seeing as humanity is growing up, it's like we're in the tween years. You know, when my kids were in middle school, that is the only time we ever had issues with bullying. And when I was growing up, the only times I had issues with bullying was middle school. I had issues with other stuff later, but bullying is middle school. And I think that's maybe where humanity is. We're just in middle school. And I can't wait for us to grow the hell up and get out of this time and get out of this place and move from our throat chakra into the time of the third eye when we can really understand that love and compassion and acceptance is the way that we will heal our planet, heal our society, heal humanity. And if all things work together for good, which I believe that they do, all of this is going to bring a brighter day some point, God hoping soon. Chris Judd says, if I'm up to a message, I'd love to know if my plans are reasonable or too much. Chris, let me stick on that for a little bit. Let me get back to you with that. Let me see if I get something through for you. For the moment, I'm just feeling a lot of my own stuff, and I never want to do readings when I'm in my own head, because the whole point of doing a message is that that I want to be out of my head to let them be in my head to bring forward information for you. So let me ruminate on that. And I want to thank you. I'm going to cut it short today for obvious reasons. I want to thank you so much for spending some time with me. Hi, Lori. I want to thank you so much for spending some time with me. I want to thank you so much for your beautiful comments and for your patience and your love and support. I want to thank you so much for letting me be angry today, and I hope it will be better. We will have a better day. Please join me on Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock for our weekly meditation. And thank you, love. And then be on the lookout for more information about our Empowered Empath online course that we're going to get finished up. And I'm hoping to have it all edited up this week and ready to launch. So super excited for that. And thank you so much for being part of our community of light. We are here for each other, and I really appreciate you all being there for me today. So much love.